Hello from Buenos Aires. My name is Fernando Straface, and I'm the Secretary General and of Foreign Affairs of the City of Buenos Aires. I'm delighted to welcome everyone to the Buenos Aires stage at the World Cities Festival and to share this panel with Álvaro García Resta on the right of your screen, Secretary of Urban Development of the city, and Emiliano Espadandín at the middle of your screen, urban planner and founder of the international firm Palo Architecture. We're here today to talk about how cities are planning to rebuild their economies after the pandemic, redesigning their public space to meet new social demands, and adapting their international positioning strategies to become better destinations for international visitors. And I will try to give you the vision for all of that for Buenos Aires. Almost 2 years since COVID-19 hit us, many of the most affected global cities are successfully emerging from the crisis. And as they go through the pandemic, a milestone that marks the beginning of the recovery in cities is precisely their international reopening. Indeed, openness is the DNA of global cities. Under the slogan, Build Back Better, global cities are planning the future of a post-pandemic urban world. The pandemic has generated changes in people's habits and demands, and the concepts of quality of life and well-being for our citizens are taking a new meaning. This is why we are working towards making Buenos Aires a city on a more human scale, with more pedestrian-only streets, more bicycle lanes, and more and better quality public spaces, so that everyone can really enjoy the city. I'm sure Álvaro is going to expand on the specific initiatives that we are undertaking. These are key factors, key assets that will define the future competitiveness of global cities and their ability to attract talent, students, entrepreneurs, and all. And as I was saying, quality of life is a critical factor that both individuals and companies take into account when settling in a city. And allow me to expand on why Buenos Aires is a great city to live in. Buenos Aires has a world-class public, private, and independent cultural offer, and for many years has ranked as one of the most livable and safest cities in Latin America, according to The Economist. Diversity is also a key asset for a global city. And we here in Buenos Aires definitely celebrate diversity as one of the 10 friendliest cities in the world for the LGBT community. And we have in the city living together more than 50 communities of different orientations and origins. Furthermore, in the last 14 years, our city has undergone historical transformation, which imply a record investment in public works, as well as putting quality of life at the center of urban planning. This is why we have been working to transform Buenos Aires, as I was mentioning before, into a 15-minute city, with more green and public spaces, better public transport, and better sustainable mobility. Buenos Aires' priority is to be a leading global city on the climate change agenda. This year we finished developing our new climate action plan, which is aligned with the Paris Agreement and targets carbon neutrality in our city by the year 2050. We will present the plan at the COP26 in a couple of weeks, of days actually, in Glasgow. And next year, we are proud to announce that we will host in our city, the C40 World Mayor Summit, probably the most important climate change event to take place after the COP. The quality of life agenda is also good for business, since, of course, it's key to attracting visitors. Before the pandemic, Buenos Aires had reached a record of 3 million international tourists, which made us one of the most visited cities in Latin America, with more than 60,000 restaurants, 11,000 bars. Our gastronomy and Buenos Aires nightlife is internationally recognized. In addition, we are among the best cities in the world for business tourism. In 2020, the ICCA ranking distinguished Buenos Aires as the best city in Latin America and one of the best in the world for what is called MICE tourism. International students are also key to boost the visitors' economy, and we have already come a long way to attract them. 4 years ago, we created the program Study VA, a program which has helped us stand out internationally and to attract more foreign students. Buenos Aires itself is a huge university campus. We have 830,000 university students and more than 40 world-class public and private universities here in the city. And the QS Best Student Cities rank Buenos Aires as one of the most preferred options for students in Latin America and Iberoamerica. In 2019, we received over 85,000 international students. Collectively, they spent $300 million, which equals around 1% of the GDP of the city. There you have the importance of the economic importance of their contribution, in addition to all the network positive externalities that this implies. Our plan in this front includes providing scholarships, promoting the cities overseas, in markets like China, for example, and creating tax incentives for new students' residencies in the city's historic quarter. Our aim is to bolster Buenos Aires as a capital city that attracts, that generates, and nurtures talent, and better position the city as a university campus in itself. And finally, I will mention a new trend that has accelerated during the pandemic. What is called the digital nomads trends. According to NEFTIC, the Work From Anywhere Index, Buenos Aires is the best city in Latin America for digital nomads, and it's among the best in the world, in line with destinations such as Paris, Boston, Hamburg, Rome, Amsterdam, or Shanghai. And all these cities are competing for attracting digital nomads. And that's why we have also created and accelerated different initiatives to attract them. By 2023, we set ourselves the goal of attracting more than 20,000 digital nomads to the city. And to do so, as I was mentioning, we are working on a special visa to facilitate the reception of those digital nomads that want to stay in the city more than an average tourist and less than a permanent resident. And we also launched a special program offering these digital nomads incentives such as discounts on accommodation, co-working spaces, as well as personalized support to facilitate their stays. And also something that I would like to mention is that on November 26 and 27, we will be hosting in the city the Nomads BA Conference, the biggest in-person event for digital nomads, remote workers, and freelancers in Latin America. We expect to attract to the event more than 500 digital nomads to the city, with the aim, of course, of positioning Buenos Aires in the region and as one of the preferred destinations for digital nomadism. And to finalize, regarding talent, I like to highlight, as I was doing it before, that talent is probably Buenos Aires' greatest competitive advantage. We are the leading city in the region and one of the most important in Iberoamerica when it comes to the quality and quantity of qualified human capital. And that's is explained mostly by the innovative and very vigorous private sector and entrepreneurial ecosystem we have in the city. 8 of Argentina's 11 unicorns companies were founded and developed in Buenos Aires. And actually, in the last couple of months, 3 of these companies became unicorn, like Bitfarms, Walla, and Tienda Nube. And the importance of Buenos Aires is also key to explain the portion of the country's service export. Buenos Aires account for more than 50% of the country's service export, for a value of more than 8,000 million. Again, our international projection strategy seeks to position the city along these very lines, and also our plan is to redesign and to accommodate the public space to improve the quality of life of citizens, something that I'm sure Álvaro is going to expand. Not only because it is good in itself, but also because it will be good for business. Finally, it isn't a standalone plan. Rather, it is an integral part of a comprehensive development strategy that reflects how we are reimagining the city of the future and working to make Buenos Aires, as we like to say, a great city to live, to visit, to study, and to do business. Thank you all, and I think now I will pass the word to Álvaro.
To Emiliano.
Or to Emiliano. Thank you, Álvaro. Emiliano, floor is yours.
Thank you, Fernando. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to stay here in this kind of important event. I wanted to talk about the public space and the real meaning of the public space. What is the space that is shaping the cities? Long before the pandemic, we are facing extremely radical events in terms of nature, heat waves, wildfires, hurricane season like never before, flooding in United States, Germany, China. Those events are playing a big role in terms of how we live in city. And we have this kind of path of safety that the UN with the last report tell us that maybe it's an opportunity to kind of help the planet. But also we are striking in this kind of the dichotomy to live in urban land and among cows, and we are living among people in cities. And the way we live in cities is, I think, challenged also before the pandemic. How we live in cities. What is the real purpose of the public space? The streets, the roads, in the central area of each city. I think we are challenged that. And also the ways in which the public transportation is happen in cities, in big cities, and the private response of that. I think that is the challenge, how we can live in cities that are facing radical transformation, but in the same side, we are living also in the this kind of digital twin of our physical reality, the metaverse. This idea of we are dealing with another type of course, the technology is there, no? Bruno Latour, in the actor network theory, talk about the idea of having this kind of relationship between machines, and the machine is going to happen like this kind of relation together. Places where the machine landscape are only allowed to produce and to stay without human involved. The idea of the autonomous systems and the idea of having this kind of a space that is still there, the space of the roads or the space of the street, the public space, and the efficiency of that system that could apply and could modify the idea of this kind of efficiency and technical infrastructure that we are dealing with, like long in the last century from the city. So what is this, the wide of the road? why we need so much space? Why that space, the public space, is not helping us to reshape the idea of the streets and the road in public urban centers? The dynamic and the technology and the innovation, and we have the product to become this kind of a revolution of the public space. The tremendously outdated idea of the near future, here is in the movie Star Trek, Into the Darkness, J.J. Abrams, we are seeing the same type of roads that are shaping the urban centers without any space for people and without any space for different type of use, different type of events, different type of activation. Everything in the road is in function or at service of one product, the car. So in the middle of this kind of transition and pivotal moment for cities and for the space in urban centers, I think we hit with the most tremendous pandemic, and the pandemic exposed everything in our life, exposed the way in which we live, the ways in which we work. But we have, I think, an opportunity. Yesterday, when I saw the presentation of Bisham, he talked about this kind of mid-sized cities that are the ones that are collecting the grand migration, the big migration. I think the urban centers are, regardless the scale, big cities, small cities, or mid-sized cities, the urban centers or the core of that kind of spaces are key. And they are going to play an impressive role if we decided to make that change, to make the streets of that core, the street that happens something, something happened there. Of course, when you have this kind of event as the pandemic, you have this reaction. It's a public event, but it's a private reaction. And we have in New York, we have in every city around the world, this kind of instantly reaction of the private sector. Of course, with a very good example of it, but also with very huge bad example of how a public issue is turning on a private hands. And the public space is something that we rely on in all the history of our civilization. We came here from Mileto City 2,500 years ago, and we still having this kind of idea of that streets are not only to move from one point to another. The streets are the space where things happen. The activation happens there. And that kind of idea or meaning or role of the public space shift in the 20th century. And we were like, of course, be part of those transformation when the city became at the service of one product, the cars, and all the roads changed. And I think the Jacobs and the girls and this kind of thing helped to understand and to revitalize the idea of the street, but the streets still are object of dividedness and object of separation. And I think that, and also object of a very extremely boring and cold design. And if it's that, the street that we are going to have in the urban center, I think we are going to lose an enormous opportunity to play another type of role and to use the street as another thing, to activate another type of use. We need to face that challenge, and we need to use it in our favor. The idea of having a urban active lane or use the space of the street for another thing, urban active surface. Why we need so much space if the street could be and the efficiency of the system could be so much thinner that we have when the system are auto-controller and we have that kind of efficiency. And if we shape the idea of this kind of 5 steps towards the street that we have right now, towards the street with an active lane, I think we can have these two types of result. When the urban active lane, where the things happen and you can work, play, care, live, maybe temporarily, the idea of the temporary thing, no? And the idea of having only a surface that can activate every part. I think that is the role of the street, and that is the role of the urban centers. And that is the huge opportunity that we have right now. I think that with that, I think we can let to Alvaro. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emiliano and Fernando. I will show, I will go more deep in a case, in a place in our city, is the city center, our downtown. We are working a lot in the last years to transform the downtown in a better place to live and for people and the human scale place. And now with the pandemic, we have to rethink how we are going to abort this transformation. So I will show you, if I don't know if you're looking my presentation. No?
No.
Well, as Fernando was saying earlier, Buenos Aires have a lot of opportunities in terms of improve the number and the quality of our visitors in our area in Latin America and also in all the world. And I think, as Emiliano was saying, that the public space is a very big opportunity for us, for the urban planners, in terms of how we are going to use this empty, if I can say empty, space or vacancies in our cities. So I have a presentation, but I don't know why. Yeah, here we are. Thank you very much. So, well, Fernando gave us a good overlooking of our city, but we have 3 million residents, and daily we have 3 million more commuters. They come from the metropolitan area, and we have a surface of 200 square kilometers. So Buenos Aires is a very big city. We have in the front of the city the La Plata River, and near the La Plata River we have our center, our downtown, and we are going to. I'm going to speak about the case of the downtown in Buenos Aires. In terms of my competitions, I'm the Secretary of Urban Development in the city, and we work with a perspective is when the people is in the center. No, we used to say that we work in several scales, from public policies or from the people to set the public policies, and in working together with the public and private sector. So with the urban anthropology team of the Department of Urban Development, we have created methodologies that include the voices of neighbors, professional institutions, and all sectors of society to co-create together all the project and public policies that we are developing. So I'm going specifically to present how can we put these methodologies in service of transformation in the downtown. The downtown of Buenos Aires is considered the financial center of Buenos Aires and one of the most visited areas by tourists from all over the world. Prior to the pandemic, the downtown area used to be one of the busiest neighborhoods during the day, but it was dead zone at night because the uses in the downtown, they are very not equity uses. No, in Buenos Aires, dense area coexist with the other low density areas, as well as neighborhoods with unused infrastructure, mostly located in the south of the city, where we have a great opportunity to development base of the diversification and land uses and a better use of existing infrastructure and service. Here in the graphic, you can see how our city center has the most employment density in whole the city. So this is a graphic that let us know that the not balance mixed uses, and we have an opportunity there. So our city center, our downtown was empty during the pandemic. I think like the most the downtowns in the world, and the pandemic and crisis kicked all the playing board, and predictions were shaken. So people habits, dynamics, and needs changed. So we was working with the urban anthropology team in study during the pandemic, how can we avoid this challenge? So as conditions for workers and tourists change, the flow of people moving to office, stores, banks, restaurants, and cultural attraction dropped by 70%. Our way of living and the relation to each other has changed. People's habits and needs have changed, and new urban dynamics have born. The economic situation of the country and on the cities has changed. So we used some time during the pandemic to study how and our habits is changing during the quarantine and during the pandemic. So teleworking has become the norm, and the offices, which account of 60% of the occupancy of downtown area, remain empty, while 20% corresponds to commercial premises and only the remaining 20% to private homes. So we have a challenge there. And from some time to now, we have been implementing public policies to make Buenos Aires a more balanced city with a greater mix of uses in each neighborhood, greener and promoting local development, that is to say, a sustainable city. We favor the creation of new jobs and generate more opportunity for people, as Fernando was saying earlier. Urban development is one of the essential links to drive this transformation for us. So I was saying that we have a huge opportunity here. Beyond the difficulty context we are living in, this pandemic also represents an opportunity, and we have the responsibility to start designing today what our future will be like once we have left the pandemic behind. So in this way, we have the opportunity to transform the downtown, the micro center of Buenos Aires, into a neighborhood to live in, with wide mixed uses, and allow people to have their work, their children's school, and their health center within the same neighborhood, with quality public spaces and nearby stores, and an area that invites people to stay and enjoy both during the day, at night, or weekends. Some month ago, we started this process together with architects, developers, institutions, chambers, hoteliers, gastronomic, building owners, representative of academia, and all the sectors involved to co-create together the challenge and solutions for the future. And I used to say that the good process becoming a good project. So in order to revitalize the microcenter of Buenos Aires and turn into a neighborhood to live in, we developed a plan that aims to encourage supply and demand in urban and economic terms. For example, with the creation of new instruments that make it easier to buy and rent housing. We have a big opportunity in terms of vacancy and access to live in the city. So a clear example in the line with this vision is the project to create a sustainable urban development fund. The fund will allow us to develop and finance programs and projects in the south of the city and in the microcenter of the city, which are especially affected by the pandemic and isolation. So this tool is going to help us to facilitate to make more easy the access to the housing in the city. The plan includes a new line of special loans financed through the Sustainable Urban Development Fund, and those who build, buy, or rent a home, and for those who invest in the expansion of renovation of offices, buildings that we use mostly for housing. No, we are working in the transformation to office building in houses building, and we just change the normative to allow these changes. So cities have a great challenge ahead. We are convinced that by working together, governments and private sector, professional institutions and society, we will be able to continue transformation and preparing our cities for the future. Thank you very much, and I wish you can enjoy our presentation.
Thank you, Álvaro. Thank you, Emiliano. And thanks to all the people, around 70 people that in different moments were participating on this session. And thank you to World Cities for the invitation. With this, I think we go to the next stage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you.